PBA Tour here in Tucson, Arizona. We're in the opening match. We're both Brian Himmler, young 23-year-old from Cincinnati, Ohio, and Steve Hoskins, 28-year-old. I've started with 3 strikes in a row, so if you're just joining us, you haven't missed a thing. We're perfect through 3 frames, and the match is on.
And on that particular shot, Mike, for people just joined us, Brian was actually distracted. He had to put his ball down, start his shot over again, and showed a lot of maturity in putting the ball down and getting it going over. Now going for 4 in a row for a 10-pin lead.
Beautiful shot. Brian Himmler. Perfect through 4 frames. Well, we've had nothing but strikes at the opening part of this match. Are they going to continue? Well, we'll find out when we come back. You stay with us. Steve Hoskins, we see, trails by 10 pins, even though he's perfect through 3 frames. That's the way the scoring and bowling works, because Brian Himmler has 4 strikes in a row. Right now, Hoskins can even the match if he can strike here on lane 16 in the 4th frame. Wow, 8 in a row between the 2 players.
And as far as I'm concerned, Mike, the toughest shot in bowling on television. As you can see, Steve Hoskins got an unusual push away. He pushes the ball actually to the left. And I think that's something he's just started. He pushes the ball to the left, and what that does is enables him to open up his shoulders and throw the big hook. Now you can see the way he drifts to the left, gets out of the way of the ball, and then pushes the ball way to the right.
Sends it out there, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he is, of the 2 players, certainly the more experienced. He's got 4 titles. When he's bowling good, he knows he's good.
Rips it out there. Doesn't make it back, leaves the 2-8. So a chink in the armor, the first one that blinked. And at Old Tucson on the main street there is Steve Hoskins.
And he's left himself with a difficult 2-8 conversion, and he will hook the ball. Now there's his wife Lisa and his daughter Lindsay, and she's just about as cute as they come. Hooking the ball to spare.
Perfect.
No problem for Steve on that conversion.
Perfect. Brian Himmler looking for his first PBA victory ever, but has 4 regional victories. He was, as we said last week, the headquarters regional player of the year this last year.
And an important shot to take the lead.
Has to hurry. Leaves the 2-4-8.
And I think that shot was a little bit of nerves, Mike. He had a chance to take the lead. He energized that ball just a little too much, maybe a little too much speed. Wasn't able to get it back to the pocket.
Seems to me, watching him play, Marshall, that he puts that push away down early. Now and then he would get a tendency to chase that ball.
Yeah, and that does get him out of time at times.
At the 2-4-8, tough spare. He has it. We talked to him earlier about how he was going to come up with a new game plan in order to relax.
I believe that the first 2 shows I made are experience, and they were bad ones, so hopefully I'll learn from them and loosen up and get it going. I think it's important I could get out to a good start, and if I don't strike, I'd like to leave something that I could make. I think that would help a lot.
Well, he did what he wanted to do. He got out to a good start, and he left a spare that he could make. But he may have trouble making this one. It's the 3-6-4-7-10.
You know, Mike, that happens so often. You come in a little light on one lane, you make a subconscious adjustment on the other. And I know he's kicking himself right now saying, why did I do that? I know that lane. As you can see, he throws the ball not far enough to the right, didn't get far enough right of target, and it goes right through the heart. Now, this is a makeable split. Needs to slide that 3-pin over into the 4-7. The ball will take care of the 6 and the 10.
Well, 8 out. So Brian Himmler faced many times these big hook ball players leave designs up there. That's the 16th split we've had so far this season.
It's
only
early.
3 of them have been converted.
And now Steve Hoskins, the bowler with the experience, as you can see his difference between his high game and low game, 276, 162. Here's his chance to take a good lead.
And The 2-10. So suddenly they started so well, and we go high a split, light a split.
As you can see, Lisa, and she's showing her concern. Here's the pin action of Steve Hoskins' last shot. Comes in light in the pocket, hoping to knock that 10 out, but nothing going to do that.
Now, I would throw it straight to try and hit this thing on the left. What do you think?
I think he's got to throw the ball straight for this particular spare, and he does, straight and hard.
Oh, and it almost bounced out of the pit. You know, it was here a few years ago on lane 15 that Jess Stayrook made the 7-10 split.
Well, Brian Himmler is fortunate to have Steve Hoskins opening up right after that.
So right now it's a 5-pin match. Hoskins has got the 5 pins, but we've got 4 frames to go. Anybody's ball game. Back in the 1-3 for Steve Hoskins. Very nice shot.
You know, Steve also has a 4-month-old baby boy, Ryan. And I believe today is his 4-month-old birthday.
Well, doesn't know whether the 4-month-old is watching, but a lot of us are watching to see the completion of this match and who will win. Stay with us when we come back. Well, that's something that Brian Himmler wants to change. 0-2, 162.5 average. He says, I'm better than that, Marsh.
Well, he's a heck of a lot better than that. He's trailing by 5 pins right now. Steve Hoskins has a strike up. Brian would like to strike right here. He came in light the last time on this lane.
Through the nose, leaves the 3-6-10. Doesn't lose any count. They were so lined up, and now suddenly it's highlight.
If Brian has one particular problem, and I can relate to it in my television appearances through the years, is he does have a tendency to become tentative, and he just needs to be aggressive with his shot making.
Davis Cup promo finish on the course.
At the 3-6-10, he has it. Jim Courier, Alex O'Brien, Richie Renenberg are on the U.S. Davis Cup team that will take on Brazil in the first round of the Davis Cup Championship. Tune in today and tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern to see the U.S. team in action right here on ESPN. We see the difference, 5 pins right there. But Hoskins working on that strike. Right now, Himmler trying to get the pocket back.
Well, that's going to make Brian feel a lot better and give him some added confidence that he was lost in the last few frames.
Amazing how players almost invariably strike once they've lost 10 pins and count.
Yeah, that does happen on occasion.
Please stay still.
As you can hear, he's talking to the cameraman. He wants him to stay still. A little distracted.
Cameramen are part of the surroundings here. He needs to put that out of his mind.
Exactly.
He couldn't. The 1-2-4-10 washout doesn't lose any count, but a tough spare.
Yeah, and he's going to throw the ball hard and straight to make this particular spare, too. I'm just wondering if he ever cleared his mind of that distraction. You know, you really do have to bowl with blinders on when you're bowling on television because there are distractions that aren't there during the week.
I mean, there's cameramen taking photos behind screens and people moving around. It's tough. At the spare. Oh!
What a terrible break.
Wraps it right around the 10-pin, as so often happens on the PBA Tour when players leave the washout. Now he has gone from being ahead by 5 to being behind by 7.
And he did everything he was supposed to do as a professional to pick up the 1-2-4-10, but he wrapped the head pin around the 10-pin. Put it right where he wanted it. He needs to put it out of his mind and start over. It's still, the game is still within his reach.
9th frame. Back in there. Well, 16 seems to be the lane that these guys are going to have to master. They're hitting 15 very well.
15 was the lane that the players told me was hooking back a little stronger.
Big shot here, 9th frame, Brian Himmler.
Well, if he strikes here, he's going to show us a lot of emotion. I can guarantee that.
High, 3, 6, 9, 10. And last night in the position round, in the 8th frame, in the 10th frame, he left this spare both times when he could have, if he'd have struck out, he might have been higher in the standings.
Yeah, and he's left himself a very difficult spare. He needs to get the ball in between the 3 and the 6 pin, and be aware of that sleeper 9 pin, which I believe was your tip.
Was the average builder last week. Now, we talked about hooking it at it last night. He threw it straight at this spare.
I don't understand the reasoning behind that. To me, I want to play that off my strike shot. Right now, Brian Himmler's put himself in a very, very big deficit. Now watch this shot. You would think that he would just throw the ball normal, hook the ball so he can get that back pin. He throws it dead straight.
And even chops the 6 off the 9.
And loses an extra 2 pins in count because of that.
Goes from 7 ahead to 7 behind. The only good news is he's finishing on the left lane.
He's finishing on the good lane, but the match almost looks like an I don't want it, you can have it kind of match.
Yeah, they're both leaking oil down the finish.
Well, you can see that the right lane certainly is going to be the lane to be concerned with today. Brian makes a great shot on the left lane. He can still strike and get 8 and force Steve Hoskins to get the first strike in the 10th. So he can put some pressure on Steve Hoskins.
Big shot in this man's budding career.
Needs to stay aggressive.
Aggressive enough.
That was a great shot. And Steve Hoskins is watching, but he can't be too concerned. He knows he needs to go up and just make a good shot.
Question is, thinking of my weird way of approaching things sometimes, is there a chance that he would have a mental letdown now that he got those 2 strikes and when he only needs 8 now to force him to strike?
Gosh, I certainly hope not. You know, I know he's aware of the score. I know he needs to put this ball in the pocket.
He's going straight. Boy, that's a pretty intelligent move right there.
It certainly was. You know, he wasn't going to take any chance. He throws that big hook. At any time, he could leave a 5-count split. Now, Steve Hoskins up on the right-hand lane, the tougher of the 2 lanes, and the last time he bowled on that lane, he left the washout. He needs a strike.
A little distraction on the left lane there, Marshall. The pins didn't set down properly. A couple of them fell over. I don't know if he noticed it.
Well, he seems set and ready to go.
For the win. Oh, my goodness gracious, a solid 8.
I guess that's fair.
And you hear him say, I guess that's fair.
That's twice. That's twice I lost one. That's pretty nice.
Well, there's nothing more that Steve could have done.
And apparently, Mikey said that figures. It's happened twice. So apparently he's needed a strike to win on TV before and left a solid 8.
Well, we remember last year, I think it was, when Randy Peterson, or year before, when he left a solid 8 against Ernie Schlegel at the Touring Players Championship.
That's right. And I'll tell you, you know, as bad as Steve feels about getting that worst break, the worst break you can possibly get in bowling, he still has to feel good about the fact that he got up and did what he needed to do.
It was out of his control. So the winner is Brian Himmler. There's an average builder coming up. I want you to stay tuned because you can learn how to keep from setting the ball short. Many times on our ESPN telecast, you hear my partner, Marshall Holman, talk about a player setting the ball short. Well, what does he mean? Well, what I think he means is generally that the player doesn't project the ball toward the target, sets it down too soon on the lane. Generally, it's left of target. The result is almost always bad. Most of the times, it'll go right through the heart of the pins. Sometimes we'll get lucky and it'll go Brooklyn. It's a common mistake, one that amateurs and professionals both make. All of us do it. Well, if all of us do it, what's the big deal? Well, we need to improve upon this thing so that we can build those averages for both amateur and professional bowlers. And the way to do it is with a little tip that I'm going to give you this afternoon, an average builder, that you can use in practice but not in league. And that is, I simply take a towel, I put it on the lane, just about 2 or 3 inches past the foul line, like so. And when I throw the ball, I simply want to get the ball over or past the towel. Now, I'm not talking here about lofting the ball down the lane. I'm simply talking about getting the ball over the towel so it'll help me project the ball toward my target, improve the quality of the shot and my hand release and my accuracy. It looks like this. There's the towel, and you can see the ball got a good foot beyond that towel. No problem with setting the ball short on that particular delivery. And as you use this average builder in your practice sessions, you'll find that your problems with setting the ball short become fewer. And when that happens, our average usually builds. Next week, we're headed to the Bay Area. It's the Brentwood Classic, a new day, Sunday, February the 16th, a new time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure and be there, because I'll be there with another average builder. Final score of our opening match, Himmler 204, Hoskins 201. Himmler is now taking on one former Tucson champion. He's got another one coming up right now as he takes on the great Mike Aulby. You got everything there, the cactus, the city, the mountains, the beautiful blue sky. That's Tucson, Arizona. They love it here. We always love coming here, and the tour stop has been here for, I think, 36 straight years.
Yeah, we've been coming here for 36 straight years, 23 years here at beautiful Golden Pin Lanes. And Mike Aulby, 36-year-old pro, who's won everything, and almost everything more than once.
It is, right. He's working on the second go-round. That's how he started.
He looked a little off balance at the foul line, but the ball ends up high flush in the pocket for a beautiful 10 in the pit strike. Now, after coming off just the biggest break of his young career, as you can see, Himmler, he was very, very good on lane 15 and struggled on this lane, lane 16.
More room. Ooh, just held there.
As you can see, Brian Himmler, he spots in an unusual manner. He looks right at the foul line instead of looking out at the arrows. It works for him.
Wayne Webb used to do that for a while, too, correct?
He's the only other bowler I know who did that form of spotting. I know I spot closer to the line when I want my ball to roll earlier. But
That's always been my approach.
He does it all the time.
All right, he off with a quick double. So if he wants his ball to go longer down the lane and break later, I wonder what kind of adjustment he makes. Just throw harder?
Well, he might just throw harder. I believe that he looks the foul line all the time. What he does, he draws a mental picture of where he wants the ball to go, then spots the foul line.
Well, it's easier to hit, I guess, huh?
Much easier to hit.
For a double, Aulby has it. There's the leaders by a round, and Himmler started in 51st, came all the way up. Aulby, almost a steady progress. Once he got to the match play, he never got out of third.
Well, once again, I credit Mike's experience, and I'm not too surprised to see his first 2 shots as strikes.
Showed a lot of poise in that position round game last night, shooting 245. He'd been struggling on that pair, changed angles, bang.
Bowling against Rick Steelsmith, who once again just comes up short. But Mike's not taking any chances. Those 3 shots have all been high flush.
Brian Himmler suddenly trailing by 10 pins and says, boy, I see why this guy's won 25 titles.
Yeah, he is very much aware that he's bowling Mike Aulby. Well, that's the way his ball is supposed to work. I mean, he throws the big hook, the big power. The light hit is supposed to be his friend. Now watch this ball go virtually out to the gutter. Here it comes, and he just splashes them all over the place with that strong, powerful ball.
Boy.
He's not sure right now. Oh, yeah.
And Aulby has a phrase for that where it goes way down there and comes in. It's dart and dive. I said the old double D, huh?
Yeah.
Has to hurry. And does. Wow. Brian Himmler. Again, perfect through 4 frames.
Just like the first game.
Mike Aulby now trailing by 10 pins.
As you can see, he won this tournament in 1980. Mike's been around for a while.
Oh, he snaps that 7-pin out. He's the only lefty on the telecast tonight. I asked him, is that an advantage or is it a disadvantage?
Well, I think it used to be more of an advantage because, you know, you just bowled to your own pace and got ready to go for the show. But it seems like lately that you really need to get some carry down on the lane. So I'm going to be out there bowling quite a bit before the show, try to get the lanes carried down so that the ball will basically have more of an even reaction instead of a kind of a dart and dive type of reaction to get you in trouble.
Brian Himmler likes that dart and dive.
That's his mainstay.
For 5 in a row. Oh, he's got it.
Well, Mike Aulby's starting to get excited.
Well, 9 opportunities for strikes between the two players. 9 strikes. Himmler now has to strike to keep pace.
I'm sure Brian's wife, Alicia, is watching back in Cincinnati and praying for every shot. Oh, that's just a terrible break.
Seems like those power balls, Marshall, penalize you sometimes more than they help you.
You know, you live by that power and you get hurt by that power. That ball just went right past the 9-pin. As we can see, this great shot. It goes right over his target, and here it comes. It looks fine, but the ball never touches the 9. Fortunately, it touched the 9-pin on the spare, and
so the first non-strike frame on Brian Himmler in the 5th frame. He trails by 11 pins right now. Getting up in the 6th frame, he's still very much in this match.
And making back-to-back telecasts for Brian and doing much, much better in this one. He's got to feel great about the way he's throwing the ball today. Wants to start striking again.
And does. I don't know what hit the 10-pin, but it fell over.
It was going a little too fast for me to tell, Mike. Could have been the head pin coming back off the sideboard. But another power strike. As you can see, the power hurt him with the 9-pin, helped him with the light hit. Mike Aulby working on 5 with an 11-pin lead. Can build that to 21.
Just a hair tight, leaves the 6-pin. I think he expected it all the way.
I think he knew his ball was inside of his target just a little bit. He leaves the 6-pin, an easy spare. As you can see, 19th year on tour, 25 national PBA titles. That's
boy, better than 1 a year. That's fabulous.
It is. And if he were to win today, he would join Don Johnson and the great Dick Weber as 26-time titleists.
At the spare, no trouble. There's great NHL action tonight on ESPN2 at 7:30 Eastern Time, where Eric Lindros and the Eastern Conference leading Philadelphia Flyers take on Scott Stevens, and the New Jersey Devils catch this matchup. Other exciting NHL games on ESPN and the Deuce. I'll be leading by 10. Wants to get back on the strike action.
Much wider.
And just a soft 7 there. That 4-pin came out of the channel and tried to hit the 7 and just a little short.
That ball got further to the left, but it still was able to return to pocket. Just didn't quite have enough power to knock down that 7-pin. He changes balls to throw not really all that much harder, but certainly much straighter at the 7-pin.
Boy, the bottle just fell over in the back, but he didn't hear it. Mike Aulby makes the 7-pin, the 7th frame. We're going to take a break right now. Who's going to come out on top of this match? Well, we'll find out when we come back. You stay with us. Good friend of mine and all the professional bowlers, the current PBA commissioner, Mark Gerbrick.
And there's Pete Thomas. And speaking of Pete, it brings to mind Millie Kraft, who is instrumental in the development of junior bowling here in Tucson. It's been at our tournaments, the Pro-Ams, for years. She had an accident earlier this week, and she's recovering in a local hospital. And we'd certainly like to wish her a very, very speedy recovery.
All 36 tournaments she's been at. You can't keep her out of here.
It's amazing.
Big shot, perfect shot.
Boy, coming out of commercial and having the composure to make that shot, that is just fantastic and great for his mental attitude. As you can see, Himmler with the big hook. Perfect.
And the big result. But not the big reaction.
No, I think he's learning when to temper his reaction, not get too excited. He's still got 3 frames to bowl,
and now match
with a 1-pin lead.
Got the message. The power ball helped.
Now there's some reaction, and that power ball definitely did help. He's throwing those pins everywhere. Take a look at this pin action, Mike. This ball comes in light with all the power. Now, what pin was it that went over?
Pin.
The 4-pin was pushed over to get that 10-pin. Look at how pumped up he is right now. Come on, pins.
Aulby trailing by 11. Has to get back in the strike column and doesn't. Leaves the 3-5-6. Wow, the veteran.
Well, he made the adjustment. He left the 6-pin coming in a little tight the last time on lane 16. He adjusts, wants to make sure he gets the ball a little lighter in the pocket, and now he leaves himself what is a fairly missable spare.
Switches balls to the straighter ball. No trouble with the spare, but right now spares aren't going to beat Brian Himmler.
No, and Mike's trailing by 14 pins going into the 9th frame. And, you know, it's interesting, you know, one break can really turn a career around and turn your mental attitude around. And maybe that one break for Brian Himmler was Steve Hoskins leaving the solid 8.
Could be. 9th frame. Foundation frame for Aulby. Got to have a strike here. He gets it. Telling it to get up. It did.
Well, I would suggest right now for Brian Himmler that he does not give him a chance to get into this match. I think Himmler, as we see Aulby shot right here, the great pin action coming in light and sort of splattering him down. As I was saying, Brian needs to shut out Mike Aulby. You'd never want to give him a chance.
And Aulby can go out the sheet for 255. Wow, you can't throw it any better than that.
There he goes.
Brian Himmler. He says, boy, I'm going to race that 160 average, get it up to 200 in one game. He leads by 24, headed to the 9th frame, or 10th frame.
I believe right now what he needs is to get a good count spare and another good count. He's working at a 250 pace right now. The best Mike Aulby can do is 255. Himmler working at 259. This is his good lane.
The 210. Boy, and count is important here, whether he goes for it or not, although I'm sure he will.
It's very important, and God, he's kicking himself right now.
Looking at that scoreboard, he's got to add it up quick here.
What a great opportunity for Brian Himmler to get up and shut the door on Mike Aulby. A little fast, a little off balance.
But if he gets 9, Marshall, if he gets 9, he forces Aulby to get 2 strikes. Is that correct?
That is correct, and I really...
What would you do?
Well, you've got to cautiously go for it. I mean, I wouldn't give away
the 2
pins and count. It's too important.
At the 210. Played it kind of cozy, like just about what you said.
I don't blame him. Right now, Mike Aulby needs to get up in the 10th frame. The last time he was bowling against Steve Hoskins made the perfect shot, didn't strike. Right now, Brian Himmler is going to need more help from his opposition.
But by getting 9 out, he forces Mike to get 2 strikes.
I really think he had to do that. And now he forces Mike to strike twice on a lane that he hasn't struck on in the last 2 times.
Has to hurry, and leaves the 7-pin.
And, you know, things are going well for Brian Himmler. Mike made a great shot.
Cross lane at the 7-pin. The great Mike Aulby put it in the 1-2, but leaves the soft 7. Has the spare. I saw him glance over as though he heard something or something distracted him. There was a definite look of irritation on his face.
He's looking over there again. He's looking off to his right. I do not know what it was. Well, it certainly shouldn't be too long before we see Mike Aulby on the telecast again.
Shakes hands with Brian, encourages him on. Himmler, 245. Aulby, 235. Next on the list, Ryan Shafer. He hasn't won yet. We'll have a special interview right after this. Now let's take a look at our top finishers this week in Tucson. Just missing the telecast by only 14 pins, Eugene McCune.
And Leno Monticelli, the 1989 Tucson champ, continues to zero in on the top 5.
Curtis Odom is the winner this year of the Steve Nagy Sportsmanship Award.
And Brian Goebel's bid for a three-peat, well, it falls just short.
And of course, the great Norm Duke. He won here in Tucson in 1991. Final score of our second match. Himmler, 245. Aulby, 235. That earns Himmler the right now to take on Ryan Shafer in our semifinal match. Stay tuned for that. Our semifinal match, Brian Himmler on the right there, Ryan Shafer, both non-champions. In fact, until this telecast, neither one have won a game on television. Now Brian Himmler's eliminated that problem.
Well, he's eliminated it twice. And it's going to be interesting. You know, I watched Ryan Shafer in practice earlier, and now he might be throwing a different ball. In fact, it looks like he is.
Himmler, lane 15. Almost crosses over, leaves just the 3-pin, puts the safe side down, and says, well, bad shot, got 9, make the spare.
I don't think that Brian Himmler completely forgot about that 210 that he left on that very lane in the 10th frame of the last match.
You know, it's just better if bowlers could have shorter memories sometimes, I think.
Yeah, the mind doesn't really need to be used when you're bowling. You just want to bowl on cruise control. He makes the spare. He's not pleased with that shot, but he's off to a decent start.
Ryan Shafer.
Our first look at Ryan Shafer, and you're going to see a lot of power in this small package also. He is, in fact, using a different ball than what he practiced with.
First shot on the right lane, sends it out. Perfect.
Getting the same results he got in practice.
Ryan, now 30 years of age. He's 5'8", 150 pounds, from Elmira, New York. Is 0-5. The career average of 191 on 5 TV appearances. We can see that he averaged 220 in this tournament, almost 221. What he wants to do now is get out of the gate with that double. Get ahead right away.
Yeah, get off to a good fast start. He doesn't want to give Brian any early breaks. Taking his time.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Too perfect. He looks very calm and confident. Shafer, I'm talking about.
He does look confident. He has a lot of years of experience on tour. Doesn't have a lot of success on TV, as we talked about earlier.
Himmler, lane 16. Himmler, banging him out of there.
Oh, that's a powerful shot, the way that 10-pin got snapped out.
Well, he looks calm and confident also. 2 young players battling it out here. Big hook to big hook.
Both throwing the big hooks. As we said last week, the coast-to-coast deliveries from way to the left to way to the right, back to the pocket. His 3rd career TV appearance, he is now 2-2, and he's raised that average to 191.
Right.
Well, he got a lot of that ball. In fact, he got too much of that ball.
3-6-10.
Just too much snap with the wrist.
He's been throwing it straight at all these spares. I would anticipate that he'd do the same thing.
Well, if he's going to throw it straight at the 3-6-9-10, you know he's going to throw it hard and straight at the 3-6-10. No sleeper pin to worry about. Just get to the ball to the right-hand side of the 3-pin.
Has the spare, but doesn't even the match and gives Ryan Shafer an opportunity to move further ahead.
And you know that's what Ryan's thinking about right now. Look at the difference between his high game and his low game. 299 and 147, and that's what that big hook can do for you. Give you lots of strikes, but it can give you lots of opens.
For 3 in a row, lane 16. Come on, he says, and it does.
Strong shot for Ryan Shafer for 3 in a row. See Ryan's delivery, and Ryan looks fairly standard when he starts his delivery, but watch when he releases the ball. He sort of pops up at the foul line. He's staying down good there, but raises up, and that helps him to get even more on the ball. You can see that strong move.
Kind of like Bob Learn.
A little bit like Bob Learn. The key is that he does it a lot. He does it with consistency.
Leading by 20, trying for 4 in a row in a 30-pin lead. Big lob, big shot. Oh, great shot. Left the 7-pin.
You know, and on tour we have an expression that we use. I mean, that we call that just a salty hit, and that by meaning it's such a bad break, because it's a shot where you slap the 10 out and the 7-pin is just supposed to fall over.
And it's up there laughing at you.
Exactly. It's just one of the power shots that we see today. Hard and straight with a different ball. Ryan is not known for being a great spare shooter. However, he has improved his spare shooting ability down through the years.
Difference in the match, 19 pins. Himmler on lane 16. It's the 4th frame, semifinal action. We're here in Tucson, Arizona.
Well, as you can see, he didn't have any problem in match play with
nice break, getting that 10-pin up.
Yeah.
Leaves just the 2-8.
Brian was able to take care of Ryan Shafer in match play, but those scores are over. He has to live in the here and now, and the here and now he's down by 21 pins.
If he makes the spare.
Yeah, that's right.
Has the spare. The best in the world of racing are in Florida for the start of the NASCAR season from Daytona Speedway. Tune in to ESPN tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern for NASCAR Winston Cup qualifying. Then on Monday, February the 10th, at 11 Eastern, catch NASCAR Busch Grand National Practice on ESPN 2.
What I understand, Mike Aulby's going to be going down to watch in Daytona. I know he's a big race car fan living in Indianapolis.
Brian Himmler.
And Brian Himmler
on 15.
making a little bit of an adjustment further left, gets the ball flush in the pocket and says, gosh, that's about time.
Ryan Shafer, lane 16, leading by 21 in the 5th frame. Whoa, he says, and he gets 9. He's happy with that.
And he knew that. As you can hear, he said he jumped all over that one, and that is sometimes the problem with the big crankers is they overdo it. He just gives that everything he has. Ball looks like it went far enough, right? Right through the nose.
Well, that's the old dart and dive, as Aulby was talking about.
Yeah,
there.
that was way too much dive.
At the 3-pin, using the same ball, not switching balls.
Shouldn't be any trouble. In fact,
Has the spare. Hasn't won on the PBA Tour in 12 years. I asked him, what would a victory here tonight mean to you?
It meant a great deal to me. I mean, I've worked hard since the end of the fall tour to the winter to improve my game. But I think it would mean more to my fiance and my parents. They stood by me through some hard times, and hopefully it'll all come out in the end.
And his fiance is Michelle. Right now, he leads by 20 pins halfway through the semifinal match.
needs to forget about that last shot. Just take care of business on lane 15.
And snaps that 10-pin out of there. Ryan Shafer looking strong here in the semifinal match. We see his ball go down there and snap that 10-pin out. Will he finish as strong as he started, or will Himmler come back? We'll find out right after this. Don Allen, the proprietor here at Golden Pin Lanes, the man that employs Pete Tontus, big smile on his face. He's enjoying all these strikes, enjoying hosting this tournament every year.
Had lunch with Don yesterday and his wife, and very nice man, and we certainly enjoyed coming back to Tucson and seeing him and everyone else here as we see Brian Himmler going for a double. He's down by 20 pins, can cut it to 10.
And does. He didn't know whether to get back, but it did.
Well, I'm not sure what pin tomahawked that last one down, but it was Brian Himmler's power that took care of him.
Well, we've seen his power very much in evidence this afternoon here in Tucson, Arizona.
And we'll show you the power. Look at the way he gets his hand underneath the ball and really lifts straight through the back of it. That's what gives that roll. That looked like the head pin getting the 4.
Well, he's saying, I'll show you the power. If I keep showing you that, you show me the money.
Yeah, and we will.
And there's that power again. Even match. Well, how will Ryan Shafer react to that?
Ryan has thrown the ball very, very well. Only one mistake when he jumped on it a little too hard in the previous frame on lane 16. So last time on lane 16, through the nose, needs to adjust.
7th frame, sends it out there. Here it comes, Cuddy. Oh, yeah! Those light hits are carrying.
The light hits are carrying for these power players. And that's kind of Ryan Shafer saying, okay, Brian, you got one like that? Well, watch this. I can do it, too.
So instead of using 6 guns at 60 feet, they're using howitzers.
Yeah, very strong.
Eighth frame, leading by 10, working on a double, trying to increase the lead to 20 pins, lane 15.
Are you serious? How many times you got to do that?
Well,
Twice.
at least twice.
Yeah.
It's just, it is a product of his power and the powerful bowling balls and that angle that they develop going into the pocket that snaps the 10 out and leaves the 7.
At the 7 pin, has to regroup here, make sure he converts the spare.
And the 7 pin is not the easiest single pin to make with all the oil in the middle.
No trouble for Ryan, though. But instead of a 20-pin lead, it's only a 9-pin lead. And for the first time in the match, Brian Himmler can take the lead if he can strike here on 16.
And a lot of good things have been happening to Brian Himmler. A lot of good breaks in key situations. Was that the one he needed? We'll find out.
For the lead. He has it. It's a 1-pin difference. 2 frames to go.
Well, here's Brian Himmler showing us his patented hit him light and watch him fly all over the place kind of strike. The ball comes back strong. That's the hit. If he could keep his ball in that place all the time, he'd rather hit there than hit flush. That's a higher percentage carry.
Yeah, he left a solid 9 when he hit flush.
That's right.
Leading by 1. 9th frame can increase it to 11.
Needs to hold his emotions in check. The last time he got energized on this lane, it was a 210.
Has to hurry. Will it hit it?
Oh, he did everything in his power to try and run that out and make that 7-pin fall.
So maybe his own energy would make that pin fall, but it leaves the 7. Same
Here
as
comes
Ryan
that ball
Shafer.
coming back strong. And gosh, come on, 7-pin. He thinks he's going to strike. He really thinks that hit's going to do it.
Well, it's been doing it every time. At the 7-pin. Straight at it. Has the spare.
Leads by 1 pin. No, the match is all even. Match is all even right now.
But Ryan needs to strike here in the 9th frame to keep it even.
Right, but Ryan has the ability to shut Brian Himmler out.
Amazing how the scoring in bowling goes.
Shafer can shoot 247. Himmler, only 237.
Come on.
Will he get it? Will he get it? No, he will not get it. It hit it, but it didn't knock it over.
I got to put a piece of tape in the ball, Kurt.
Shafer telling Kurt von Kruger he needs tape in the ball. There's the pin action of Ryan Shafer's last hit, and it looks like the pin is gonna, it's trying to get over to that 10 pin. Will it do it? Is it long enough? It's not enough time.
At the 10 pin, has the spare. He put the tape in the ball.
And the reason that he has to ask Kurt von Kruger, our tournament director, to put that tape in is that so the shot clock won't be in effect. When you're doing something to fix the ball, then the shot clock isn't in effect.
There's the clock. One pin separating these two bowlers headed to the 10th frame. Shafer gets to finish first, but he trails by 1.
And he cannot shut out Brian Himmler no matter what he does.
Big shot here. High through the nose to the 310.
It's terrible.
Well, he's not happy with himself right now, but he's still not out of this match if he can make this spare.
Right, and I can't help thinking that that shot is a product of those 7 pins that he's left in that lane. I think he feels like he has to stuff it dead flush in order to strike. Needs to convert the 310 baby split. He pulled it. Oh, it so much, Mike. He made it. That is one of the worst best shots you're ever going to see. Now watch this. This ball is so far left of his target. He missed it by so far, and he made it.
Again, he's pulling the tape out. His reaction.
I think he feels he was owed a good break.
Well, he was.
Yeah, I guess in a way he was.
But he trails by 3. The fill ball is still very important.
Oh, it's extremely important. He wants to make Brian Himmler do as much as possible in the 10th frame.
Oh, my goodness. Back through the nose to 3-6-10. Finishes with 221, and now Himmler basically just needs a mark.
And even with his almost 3 games of experience today, it's going to be a nervous shot for Brian Himmler as he needs a 15-pin fill to win this match. He wants a strike. He doesn't want to shoot a spare. He doesn't. He got that strike, Mike. Boy, we're seeing a maturation process of Brian Himmler right now, sort of coming into his own after those 2 160 games that he shot in his prior telecast. Needs just 5 pins to win in 2 shots.
I think even I could handle that.
We could do that.
Straight at it. No hook this time. That's enough. That's enough. Well, I tell you what, he's got all the shots. He's maintaining the poise, striking when he has to, thinking. Everything's going his way.
Everything. He's had a few key breaks when he's needed them, but now he's got a bowl against Pete Weber in the next match. That's going to take a lot.
Brian Himmler defeats Ryan Shafer 227 to 221. We're coming back with Championship Frame. Stay tuned for that. Now it's time for Championship Frame, a review of the 3 previous matches, and in the opening match, Hoskins needed a strike right here, Marshall.
And Steve Hoskins knows what he has to do, get up and make a good shot. He makes a great shot. By all rights, he should have been born in the next match. Solid 8. What are you going to do?
And that's fair, he says.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't fair because Himmler got the break he needed. 204 to 201. He wins that first match. That gives him the opportunity to face the great Mike Aulby in the second match, who needed 2 strikes.
And Mike Aulby needs 2 strikes in the 10th frame. And if I had to pick somebody to throw him for me, I'd want Mike doing it. He makes an excellent delivery. But it's the soft 7 pin, and Himmler goes on to bowl the next match.
Aulby said, come on, but the pins didn't cooperate. Himmler, 245. Aulby, 235. Semi-final match. 2 guys who never won a PBA tournament. Right now, Himmler needs a mark here to win.
And the best kind of mark, and I know he doesn't want to shoot a spare. Just please let me strike and win this match. He does it, 10 in the pit. Great shot. He loves it, running it out. He's bowling for the title, Mike.
There's the semifinal match, 227 to 221. Himmler now has to take on the great Pete Weber. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're back in Tucson, Arizona for the championship match of the Tucson Open. And my partner, Marshall Holman, is with Pete Weber.
Thank you, Mike. I'm here with Pete Weber. Pete, it's been since 1993 since you won on the PBA Tour. I watched you in practice. You look ready. You feel good?
I feel the best I've felt ever in a title match right now. I'm very confident. I'm secure. I'm going to go out and throw 12 shots.
All right, 12, he says 12 strikes. Maybe that was a Freudian slip. Maybe he knows something we don't know. You're making Brian Himmler start the match. What's the strategy?
Marshall, I have always felt, I've always been this way, that if I have a chance to lock him out early, I want to lock him out. I mean, I want to get up and be able to throw the strike and not even give him a chance.
All right. Thank you very much, Pete, and good luck to you.
Thank you, Marshall. And we take a look at some of the tournament stats right here. 108 players. Overall average at 207. Had average 212 to cash and 215 to make the match play this week. Scores not on the high side. Little slap of the hands right here. Brian Himmler, biggest game of his career coming up right now, and he's evened that up a little bit between lane 15 and lane 16. Seems like he likes them both now, Marshall, as you sprinted up here.
Yeah, he seems to be comfortable in both lanes now. And what a great way for him to start. It's amazing the confidence to go from one end of the spectrum to the other. We've seen it today with Brian Himmler, but he is bowling against Pete Weber, who is one of the all-time most gifted players ever. I think he might have got that from somebody named Dick Weber.
I think he might have got that from somebody named Dick Weber. Oh, what a break to start the match. The pocket 7-10 right away.
Oh, my.
He pulls out his spare ball.
And he'll throw this hard and straight, and we have had a 7-10 made here. It was a few years ago.
By Jeff Staybrook. It was on the other lane. It was on 15.
Hard and straight.
Boy, he bounced it over there.
Well, we'll see this shot by Pete Weber, and just a beautiful, beautiful first shot of a match from way inside to way outside. Look at that shot. Look, you can see his eyes are opening up as wide as they can be. He knows it's a good shot. Okay, it's a first frame. It's all right. You know,
well, immediately falls.
And a big differential between his high of 300 and a low of 148 as he's down by 11 pins.
Back in the 1-3. Of course, he was in the 1-3 in the first frame. It didn't do him any good, but a strike.
We see Pete Weber. He looks like he's throwing the ball slower. He wants to throw it real slow, give it a chance to hook back solid in the pocket.
It's been doing that for him all week, too. Himmler for a double. Himmler, like he's been doing all afternoon.
Somewhere along the line, Brian Himmler is going to understand that he's bowling for a title match. But as you can see, look at his average is over 200 now, Mike.
Well, we talked about that, Marshall, that he wanted to get it up there. He's gotten it up there. So, and he's on the plus side of the ledger now. He's 3-2 in match play. He wants to keep it on the plus side. Weber wants to even him up.
Weber wants to get that 22nd title. Still very early in our championship match.
Will it hit it? No. Boy, like last week, Marshall came back in front of the 10 pin.
That's the power. That's the new power strikes. We've got strong balls. We've got guys who go from coast to coast with hook. It produces a lot of pin action, a lot of balls, pins going flying from left to right.
Everything's happening on the PBA Tour, including their own website.
That's right. And if you have any questions for this champion or any questions about the PBA's website is www.pba.org. No,
I'm being facetious.
Delete the last three dots, just one.
Down 20. Really needs to get back in this match right now.
Yeah, and he made a good shot, left the 7-10 on lane 16. He's going back in that lane, wants to cut this deficit down to 10. Gotta hurry.
Oh, the 2-4-8. Boy, he thought it would get there, and it did not.
And that ball looked, as we see his wife, Tracy Weber, who is a little bit nervous right now early in this match. I believe, I'm sure, that he threw that ball faster. The speed control is very critical when you're throwing the ball with that much hook. As you can see, it get real wide. It wasn't slow enough, but he's lucky. That could have easily been the 2-4-8 and the 10-pin.
At the 2-4-8, tough spare. He's hooking it at it. He's got it, no trouble, but he's not happy with just the spare.
And Pete Weber is one of the greatest spare shooters on our tour, whether he's throwing the ball hard and straight or hooking it. He's still got to think that if he can just get a few strikes going and put some pressure on Brian Himmler, that maybe there'll be a chink in his armor.
Back on the left lane, fourth frame. Back in the pocket, but leaves the soft 10. Suddenly, in a one-game match, the breaks are just not going his way.
Well, the only thing that's happened good for Pete Weber right now is that he didn't split on lane 16 in the third frame. Once again, hard and straight. No problem.
That's the 10-pin. Brian Himmler, fourth frame, leading by 21 pins.
Wants to keep a lot of pressure on Pete Weber.
Well, he doesn't. No other award brings together the sporting world to honor the best performances and memorable moments in sports like the ESPYs. Tune in this Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern, when comedian Jeff Foxworthy hosts, live from Radio City Music Hall in New York City. Boy, he can really take a commanding lead with one more right here.
Could take it to 31 pins. That ball he threw real hard. What an unusual pin action. He threw that ball hard, but he pulled it. His timing wasn't good on that particular shot.
But he tripped
got
the
away with
four
it.
and left the 3-pin.
Yeah, well, that shows you just how much these balls can hook. Well, take a look at this pin action. This ball's coming in sideways, goes past the 3-pin, and trips out the 4-7. You know, Pete Thomas, the proprietor here, tripped a few 4-pins in his day. Hard and straight at the 3, no problem.
But no strikes, so Weber has a little life, but, you know, the game's almost halfway over, and he hasn't put together any momentum yet at all.
No, he needs to get a couple of strikes, both to get 10 pins closer and to get some momentum. You see, it's his 75th career television appearance. He's got a good record. Many more wins than losses. But it's been since '93 since he's won.
I asked him, it's been so long since you won, will this be the sweetest or just number 22?
Well, if I win today, it's going to be probably one of the sweetest victories because it's been such a long time since I won. But, you know, if it just so happens I don't, oh well.
I didn't like that ending.
I don't like that negative ending either. I really don't.
Almost like he's resigned.
Well, yeah, you don't want to even bring that up at all. You'd like to bring up a strike on a left lane, and he's not going to do it, and it very well may be an oh well.
3-6, 7-10. He was confident, he was ready, but now if he doesn't make this split, he is almost out of this match.
Well, he'll be down by well over 30 pins. He is a very, very good spare shooter, extraordinarily accurate.
He's got it. Maybe that'll pump him up.
Well, I hope it does. I really hope it does. As we see Pete Weber, who I said he's a great spare shooter, and I say that because I watched them both for so many years, just absolute perfection on the split.
His reaction, look at those eyes.
Yeah, he wanted that.
Himmler, right lane. Says, ooh, baby, what got that 10?
Yeah, great pin action for Brian Himmler.
So it stays at 21 pins, 4 frames to go. right now, boy, it's Himmler's match to lose.
And you know, it's interesting because Brian Himmler seems to have a better command on lane 16 now than he does on 15. And 15 was a lane that he was better on earlier in the match, as he is looking for his first PBA title, and you can't measure how large that is. Same mistake that he made the last time on that lane. He got it inside his target, but his speed was up, and he was fortunate to get that 9-pin down. Now watch this shot. This ball never gets as far to the right as he wanted it to, but he had good speed. There's a solid 9. What hits it? What?
I think the 3-pin. I think.
And watch, he's nervous right now watching this. Oh my gosh.
Weber, right lane. Weber, strike.
And this is a must situation for Pete. He just has to get a double to put some pressure to get it back to a 21-pin match. He trails by 31. He's going into the 8th frame.
Has not been able to put 2 strikes together yet in 7 frames, but if he doesn't do it now, it may be an oh well.
And this is a lane that he left the split on. Does he move a little left? Does he throw a little harder? He's got a lot of experience. Firmer speed and no good. He just doesn't. Now he's lost in the left lane. Doesn't know.
6-10.
He went with the harder speed to try and hold the ball in the pocket. As we see Tracy, she's just praying for him, and it's very tough for the ladies.
If they can't do anything right now, Pete Weber can't do anything, but Brian Himmler, he's on cruise control, leading by 31 pins. Everything going his way.
And everything's going his way, but if there was ever a chance, ever a time for a youngster to make a nervous mistake, he's getting into crunch time. It's the 8th frame. Leading by 31, can make it 41.
Oh my God, you talked about just that thing.
It's just, you know, I've been there personally. I know what it's like. I know what the feeling is like going into the last part of winning a match. As you can see, this shot, he actually throws it where he wants to, but he didn't get the leverage. The ball does not hook back up the pocket. And he's going, oh, why did I do that?
Does he just play it safe and go for the count?
I would. He's going for it. No, just
doesn't convert it. The first ever all sports news network is here. ESPN News gives you highlights and the latest sports information 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. To get ESPN News, call your local cable operator or satellite provider. Right now, Himmler wants to provide a strike.
He's up by 15 pins. If he would have struck there, he would have been up by 41 pins, and it would have been pretty much match over.
Well, he is on a slippery rope right now and leaking a little oil here.
There's another nervous shot. He knows what a win would mean to him. It would mean being a part of a very, very select fraternity. Also, it would mean bowling in the Brunswick World Tournament of Champions next year. And that's another nervous shot. He needs to put that behind him. He needs to make this spare. If he spares here, no matter what Weber does, he can still win this match.
Has it on the left, but has it.
He got it done one way or the other.
Weber, if he takes it out, 208, go to the lead.
That's right. If he could strike out, he would go into the lead and force Brian Himmler to throw 2 strikes in the 10th frame on the lane that he just left the 2-4-8-10 on. But first things first, Weber in the 9th frame must strike. Perfect. He knows he's still in this match. He's a veteran player.
I personally think he's in the match if he gets just the first one.
It would force him to mark, as you see this delivery by Pete Weber, way out, slow speed, 10 in the pit. Okay, all right.
He chose to finish the match first. I think he got that from his dad because Dick always did that.
Yeah, he doesn't care whether he likes one lane better than the other. He wants to finish first and put the pressure on his opposition. What will he do on this particular shot? He's got to make the ball come in lighter. He's been through the nose the last 2 times on this lane.
Move deeper. Move deeper.
Oh, yeah. Here he comes.
Still alive.
Tracy's clapping her hands going, one more, Pete.
It's been since 1993 since he's won a PBA event.
Well, with that strike right there, at the least, he forces Brian Himmler to make an appearance in the 10th frame and at least get a mark. One here will force Brian Himmler to get 2 strikes in the 10th frame. Biggest shot of the week for Pete Weber. You want to see raw emotion? Pete Weber will show it to you.
Well, that's why he's won 21 previous titles, because when crunch time came, this is how he threw it.
Well, he makes a beautiful shot, way wide, real slow. Yeah, Himmler's going, well, I've got a strike twice.
And here's the straight shot now. Bang!
Hard and straight for Pete Weber. He came to play today in the 9th and 10th frame. He was there, strikes out. Now he leads by 5 pins. It's very simple for Brian Himmler. 2 strikes, and any kind of count he wins. If he doesn't strike these first 2 shots, Pete Weber has 22 titles.
Oh, Weber has 22. Himmler fails on the chance to get his first. We'll be back to talk to Pete Weber. Stay with us to meet the 22-time champion. There's the emotion of his wife and Pete. We'll be right back. Your champion, Pete Weber, it was in doubt till the 10th frame.
Well, Mike, as you saw during the telecast, I was very confused on the... Well, actually, I started confused on the left and then got confused on the right. But, you know, I always heard you guys say, when in doubt, grip it and rip it. And that's what I did in the 10th frame. I just moved in and just hit it as hard as possible.
Congratulations. We've got a run right now, but we want to say 22 is sweet. For Marshall Holman, this is Mike Durbin saying so long from Tucson, Arizona, where Pete Weber has won the Tucson Open. Join us next week for the Brentwood Classic. Stay tuned for Davis Cup action. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.